All right, welcome back to the Creatives POV podcast. I'm Noah.
I'm Ethan.
And today we got the boy Jaden Jacobson on the podcast.
Yeah, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Good,
Yeah,
man.
glad to have you on, bro.
Can
So
I sit back here? Can it still hear me from back
you might sit up a little bit into it, just when you talk at least,
Okay,
that way.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Or whatever's comfortable,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and what do you do?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, like you said, my name's Jaden. I was born in South Dakota, but I moved here when I was 1. So pretty much I've been in Des Moines my whole life. And I'm the owner of Life of Us Clothing. So it's pretty much a streetwear brand. We're just out of Des Moines and we see fashion as a way of communication, relatability, expression. And so we try and use that through fashion. And that's kind of our goal and mission behind the brand.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, it's been a grind. It's been a grind for sure.
Yeah, so tell us how this whole journey began for you. Like, how did you get into fashion?
Yeah, so I actually originally, probably 6-7 years ago, maybe, I got into modeling and acting with the Peak Agency. It's just a Des Moines agency around here. And so kind of like everyone, like singers sing, writers write, whatever, artists draw. I kind of like my escape from like, my normal world or like my way of like getting out of my reality and like living a different life kind of I saw as like modeling and acting, right? Or like expressing myself, like kind of just getting out of that when I needed to. So I got into modeling and acting a lot, and that's kind of what turned me into like the fashion era, looking at like my style different, obviously being at like a lot of shoots. Doing all that stuff really started getting me into like the fashion era of the world. And so I started looking at my style differently and just like other people's style. And it kind of switched my narrative to like, yeah, like the modeling and acting stuff is good. It makes me feel good. It's fun and whatnot. But at the same time, I wanted something that like I could also like leave behind. As a sense, like modeling and acting, I couldn't necessarily like, if I had kids, like, yeah, they could do the same thing, but I can't like put them in the shoes I was at or whatever, or if I can't like guarantee that they're going to want to do the same thing, or even like leaving like a kind of like a legacy behind or whatever. I didn't really see that with modeling and acting. So I saw it in fashion, whereas I could still express myself and like get out of that, like, how whatever I'm thinking, or if I'm, in a dark place or trying to get out of something, make a design, kind of back to what I was telling about, really trying to like put all our designs into like people can connect to them, relate to them, stuff like that. So I started seeing fashion as that way. So I started kind of switching over, and that way back to just pushing things out that people can connect to, and then I can also leave it behind, whether it's in a museum, up that people can still look at and be like, dang, that touches me, or like I feel something from that, or if it's a friend of mine, a family member of mine, like continue on the brand from that. So that's kind of what got me into like the fashion industry from modeling and acting and whatnot, and kind of looking into that route.
Yeah, are you self-taught or did you go to college, or what did that look like?
Yeah, I would say a lot self-taught. I did go to DMAC, and I did a fashion program there, and it was great. And I would definitely like recommend it for anyone if they do want to take that college route. But obviously, like nowadays, it's definitely like not. I wouldn't say it's like for everyone, or like a really like back in the day. Everyone's like got to go to college, get good grades, get a good job, work it out. You'll get your 401k. You'll be set once, you work for your 40 years or whatever. Right. And maybe back then that was, good advice. But I feel like now there's so much right in like the palm of your hands that you can learn from like technology or YouTube and whatnot. So me personally, I took college as more of like a networking opportunity, as a way where I could push my brand out to more people, meet more people, like, because I went into the fashion industry, so I could make those connections. I attended like all the events and whatnot just to kind of push my brand out there more. So I almost took college as more of like a networking perspective, and I only did a 2-year degree, so it was like really fast, kind of in and out. And I loved it. The teachers were great, the content was great. We went out to New York. They took us out to New York for a little.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so that was super cool. We do a whole fashion show there, so that was pretty dope, and it's a great program. But again, like if I were to go back and like really look at like what did I like truly like learn from it, I could have been like, yeah, I could have watched a YouTube video. I could have hit up this guy who's already done it. It's just like a different generation now. So I feel
everything's
like
shifted.
Exactly. So I think if you're really going to do that college route, like really make sure it's like right for you. Obviously, like, because it's a lot of money, some can be a lot of money, but I just really would see it more as like a networking opportunity, depending on how you're trying to take that. If it's you're trying to get your own name out there, or if you're trying to get your brand's name out there. So that's kind of really how it kind of was more efficient for me versus
that's good,
learning wise.
But absolutely, man. So tell us about the brand Life of Us.
Yeah.
Like, how did that come to be? And, like, the meaning behind the name and everything.
So I was a sophomore in high school, maybe even a freshman when it kind of started coming together. And it was kind of like back then, it was just kind of for fun. It wasn't really too much serious. It was kind of just like me and my buddies messing around. Like if we wanted this shirt for this, I'd be like, yo, I could print that and whatever. So at first it was like Life of Us, like me and my buddies, like, you know, we're going to make funny shirts, make this and that. Like I even had people who were like making fun of me and like clowning me. They made a shirt called like Life of We and stuff. And
what?
yeah, it was crazy. But it is what it is. Like, you know, we're here now. So, so we did it just started off as a joke, to be honest. And, just something to kind of occupy my time. And then I had to make kind of that mindset shift, because at the beginning, like I said, like, yeah, it's my friends. They're supporting me. They're buying my stuff. But I realized, like, if I really wanted to do this, like, as like my career, I needed to make a shift where people that I don't even know are going to buy it, you know?
Yep.
And I think like even Eli kind of touched on that in your podcast. And so before, I was just kind of dropping like just my brand name, a lot of branding stuff, just like Life of Us and like different fonts and stuff. And so once I graduated high school, I started working closely with a graphic designer. His name's Jordan Jones, and he's killing it. He's absolutely insane. But so we really started pushing more of like the art and more of like what I talked about, like people can connect with our pieces and feel something and start like a conversation, like seeing someone wearing my shirt and they're like, yo, where'd you get that? Or like, what does that mean? What's going on there? And kind of bringing that whole like conversation and relationship into fashion is kind of like a big thing that I see with it. Just going back to like how each like piece for me, I try and push like a story and message behind it that either obviously connects with me that I've been through, but I feel like other people can connect to and relate to. So that's the main thing behind Life of Us. Like just bringing in a collaborative group, like the whole community, pretty much anyone from, you know, all sorts of backgrounds, whatever, they can wear it, they can connect to it, they can, you know, connect with other people with it and stuff like that. So that's kind of the whole kind of vision behind Life of Us, just really pushing out. Yeah, like it's pretty much spiritual, a lot of spiritual things, whatnot, I would say, is kind of how it resonates. But
yeah. Okay, I just want to go back. You said you were 13 or like... How old are you? A sophomore in high school?
21. I'm 21, but I started when I was, I started talking about it when I was a freshman, but the brand launched in 2018. I graduated in 2020.
Where did you graduate from?
Johnston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my sophomore. So sophomore year I dropped it, and I actually had a buddy with me who we were kind of doing it together with, and had like a different graphic designer that I'm not working with now. And yeah, so it started off with like 3 of us and slowly just started going down years, and people started realizing this wasn't for them. They wanted to try other things. Obviously there's a lot of struggles, ups and downs. No one's seeing money right now. No one's,
right.
Like we're all good. There's no hard feelings. We're all friends. And like it is, one of them actually has a brand he's kind of trying to do. But yeah, it was definitely a grind. It came from a long time. So slowly they kind of fell out, and then it was just kind of me. And I would say that almost just kind of like boosted the motivation more. Like it sucked. Like my buddies are like, we're friends. Like they don't see eye to eye. Like they're coming out of the vision. But like at the same time, it was like, kind of like pushed me a little more, like built that fire a little more, like, but I still see this, like I still want this and whatnot. Yeah. And so that's kind of just really when I hit the full switch in 2020, went going into like the full like graphic works. I don't know if they can see that maybe. Yeah. But just really big graphics, all over prints. Yeah.
Do you get a lot of that stuff printed locally or like manufactured and sent in?
I actually printed all myself locally here. The fabric's all grown in LA, materials all cut in LA, blanks are all cut in LA, and then you get it shipped over here. and then I print it locally here. It's all screen printed. So I work a 9 to 5, which is kind of like a bonus because I work at just like a big manufacturing spot around the area. So I kind of have access to their machinery right now. So I've been leveraging that. Obviously I'm not planning to do that the whole time because I want to get into more complex cuts and whatnot. The place I use right now is, pretty limited to the kind of cuts that they can do and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of room to grow. But yeah, everything right now is all made in the U.S. Everything's local. I screen print everything myself. Designs are all between me and Jordan. I'll pretty much, we text probably every day, just back and forth about brainstorming, sending in my inspiration. We have Pinterest, boards going 24/7, texting back and forth. So that's kind of just how the design process works.
Gotcha.
Where do you draw most of your inspiration from,
sure.
style wise?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is street. I know before, back in the day, there was a differentiator before like streetwear and like urban wear, where like the streetwear was like, the skate, kind of the skate surf era, and then this urban wear was more of like the hip hop kind of era, whereas like now they've kind of meshed, even when once Bape started, the Japanese started bringing in like the graphics, and they started coming to the US, and they pretty much like meshed them together. But I would say it's definitely a lot like street, a lot of lifestyle, a lot of like spiritualism, I said, kind of like within yourself and like connecting with like the world as a whole. And then kind of just a little bit hip-hoppy, I guess I would say. But yeah.
What designers and brands do you credit a lot of like what you've learned and what you want to communicate?
Yeah. You had him on the podcast, Demetrio. He's a stud. Yeah. A lot of respect for him. I sat down with him a little bit ago, and he spit a lot of game for me and just kind of let me pick his brain a lot. So I definitely got a lot of respect for him. He's been killing the industry and just being like local and around here. So definitely, he's definitely a big like motivation or like person that I look up to. Obviously I like Eli a lot, another local person. He's kind of a different genre, different target market, I would say, but I love what he's doing. As far as like bigger brands or other brands outside, well, I guess I don't know if you guys know Human Clothing, Miller McCoy. So he's another one, obviously, that I support, love him, talk to him all the time. But outside of like locally or whatnot, like bigger brands, I would say Hellstar is a big one that I really like. Half Evil. The Nelk Boys guy, Jesse, he just recently started a brand called Bloody Sunday. So they've just been doing some stuff, which I actually really like because they're kind of almost like what Eli's doing with the whole countercultural thing. They're kind of doing the same thing, but with like the street vibe. So how a lot of like the skate brands are getting ripped off and stuff. And like he just made a shirt. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
He just made sure that said like fuck a trademark. So like kind of the whole thing behind like, you don't need that like that validation or whatever kind of behind the whole brand. So Bloody Sunday, that's another one that just actually got launched up that I really like. What else? What have I been buying lately?
There's a lot.
I know. That's what I was saying.
The
industry's so saturated now too. Like, and that's one hard thing that's like for people that are like trying to get into it, maybe it's so saturated now. And it's like, it takes a lot and you got to just keep pushing it. But
do you feel like it's hard being based in Des Moines?
Yes and no. I feel like everything's hard. It's just whether or not you want to pick your hard. I think there's obviously, I just look at it, if someone else has done it, you can do it too, So whether, obviously, like I named Demetrio, Miller, they're both more than successful. Obviously, Miller's out in LA now doing his thing, and Demetrio could obviously be out in LA too, but he's, supporting the local and whatnot. But I don't think it's necessarily about, like where you're at or like kind of, because, you can control that, right? You can kind of control that. I think it's the things that you can't control that are kind of what holds you back. So I think Des Moines, honestly, has a lot of potential. I know some people are like, Des Moines doesn't have anything, doesn't have that. It's like, yeah, that's a bad thing. But like at the same time, it's a good thing, right? Because you could be the one who brings that to Des Moines, right? You could be the one who is the first person to do that in Des Moines. Exactly. Yeah. So that's like also a reason that I kind of like Des Moines and kind of been trying to stick around and like doing these local events and stuff like that, is because, like, we don't have this around here. Like, kind of back when I was modeling and acting, my agent, he would always say, like, modeling and acting in Des Moines is kind of like trying to be a professional snowboarder in Florida. It's kind of like the same thing, I guess, with clothing. Like, yeah, clothes are out here, but like it's different than when you're in Chicago, New York, Arizona, Florida, where it's just a different culture.
Yeah.
Sure.
But people are still out there. Like, it's still out there. It's still a big thing. And even not that, technology and shipping and just how big, like, with the world is and getting your name out there, like, you can get people from China, to see your thing now with social media and what's like at your fingertips. And like, even with me, like, it's blown my mind. Like just today I've had people from Italy on my site, New Zealand, all over the world. So it's crazy. It's just we guys got to put your mind to it. If you tell yourself it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And like, that's a really cheesy thing. And like, you guys are probably going to ask me, like, if you could tell someone, like, trying to do what you're doing, what could you do? And I know everyone always says, like, you can't tell yourself no, you got to keep going. Like, kind of the same old cheesy things. And like, yeah, like, they're true. Like, they are true. And like, but at the same time, like, another big thing is it's more like who you know than what you know nowadays.
Right.
Connections are a huge thing, and like, that's just, I kind of just rambled on.
Yeah, no, that's a good rant.
No.
So your brand turned 5 years old.
Yeah.
Talk to us about like how, I mean, you started a brand in high school. That's kind of crazy. Like, how have you seen the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows, like, go through these last 5 years, and how's that journey been?
Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of struggles. There's a lot of highs. I would say at the beginning, getting started, obviously, like, money was a problem. Being a high school student, not having really a job. I might have had a job back then. I don't know. I started working at Papa Murphy's when I think I was like 15.
Shout out Papa Murphy's.
You do work at Papa Murphy's?
No.
They're just good though.
No, they're good. Yeah.
But so I don't know. Obviously, money is a problem when you're young. And like, luckily for me, so I had a buddy. So his dad and my brother, they were generous enough to just give us some money to kind of like get going and get started. So that was kind of an obstacle we overcame at the beginning. Another thing is just people making fun of you. I told you, like, the one people, they made a brand kind of like mocking us and stuff, and that's all good. So that was one thing. And then I would say, like, the big thing was kind of just back to the transition about your friends supporting you, but they're only going to do that for so long. And that's like in life, like, your friends or your family, they're only going to pay your bills. They're only going to pay your, for so long. Eventually, like, you're going to have to take that over. You're going to have to make your own decisions. You're going to have to be doing your own things. And so it quickly, like, came to my realization as I was getting older and like graduating college, and friends were going different ways. People were going different ways, that these same people weren't going to be around me to, support me or buy my clothes just because they were my friend and just because, it had my brand name on it. So that was another big obstacle, and I really had to start just pushing my just creative ability, I guess, to figuring out, what people are going to want to buy, what they're going to wear. So that was probably my next biggest obstacle, which was kind of like midway through like 2020, like kind of when I truly started like shifting and taking this brand to like a full-time thing. After that, obviously being only person other than my graphic designer, from making stuff, marketing, photo shoots, scheduling stuff. It can be a lot on your plate. So balance is like key. Scheduling things, having a calendar, having everything organized, figuring out that, and organization is definitely a big key and factor once you get going. Budgeting, having a good spreadsheet, knowing where your funds are going, what you're spending your money on, stuff like that. There's a lot of little things. Other than that, I would say probably my next biggest struggle, I would just say keeping it going, honestly. Like, there's going to be days where you're going to wake up and you're not going to want to do it, but you just got to do it still, because no one else is going to do it for you, right? So just constantly putting your foot on the pedal and like waking up, and even if you don't want to do it, you just do it, because like eventually it's going to pay off, or it's going to be worth it. So that's probably another big struggle that even like every day, like to this day, I face. Like there's some bad days, yeah, but just know like those bad days later, there'll be a good day and it's going to make up for it. Or, you know, there's going to be better days after that. Like the harder the day is, the better the next day will be. It's kind of how I look at it. And the sun's always going to shine the next day. And that's kind of one of my collections I did too, was just looking at like, you know, the sun's still going to come up the next day, whether you want it to or not. So you might as well get up and, you know, get after it. So that's just kind of a big thing that I push is just, and like a big thing people struggle with is just consistency of pushing stuff out.
Yeah. What are some of the big highlights over the past 5 years that really stick out to you?
Yeah. I would say lately just being able to sell out collections, I guess. So originally how I started, I was doing a lot of heat transfer stuff. And so it was kind of like print on demand type things. I would make some designs. People could like tell me if they wanted it and then I would kind of print it. And it was just like hit or miss and whatnot. And so really getting into that like collection day, advertising it, dropping it, having, you know, a limited quantity and people like buying it, selling it out and being able to, you know, move on to a next collection, that has really like changed and like motivated me. Seeing people like, I'll go out to Iowa State Fair or just being out in public places and seeing people like that you don't know just wearing your stuff, like that's like a feeling like you just, I don't know, you just can't explain it really, you know?
Yeah.
Like seeing your friends wear it is like, it's a cool feeling, but just seeing someone else like that you don't have no clue who it is wearing it is just, it's a surreal feeling. So
when you see someone wearing something you made, do you bring it up or do you just let it slide?
I thought you might ask that. Sometimes. Yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes I'll say something, sometimes I won't. Sometimes they'll recognize me. Like I'll know they're wearing it and like maybe we'll make eye contact and they'll kind of recognize me. Most of the time I don't though, but like, yeah, it just kind of depends on the environment, where we're at, how like public it is or what they're doing. But sometimes I will, yeah.
Cause like there's been times where like I've made something and like someone's wearing it. And like I won't comment because I'm like, is that prideful of me
I feel
to bring that up
sure.
or like, you know, I don't know.
I agree. No, I do agree. I would definitely, say I could agree with you on that. I don't know. I've brought it up to people and it's a good thing. Like I think it's always gone right. Whenever I have brought it up to someone, it always just brings like a good conversation. And obviously like as a brand owner, you want that too. Like you want to connect with your customers. Like, for instance, let's say he were to see me and recognize me and know we made eye contact, know we saw each other, and he's like, dang, he saw I was wearing his shirt, but he didn't even say anything to me, like type stuff, you know?
Right.
So it can kind of go both ways. So like, it's kind of hit or miss. Obviously, yeah, if anyone sees me, like definitely come say what's up. I would love to talk to you. And like, cause that's a big thing behind my brand too, is like the shirts and connecting with people and stuff. So
yeah,
it was just, I definitely play it by the environment and how it is,
okay.
But
yeah.
So you went through a rebrand pretty recently. Talk to us about that. What kind of transition that caused and what brought you to do that?
Yeah. So that was actually pretty recently. A few months ago, we did a rebrand, which was actually my second rebrand because I did a rebrand when I graduated high school, and then we just did this rebrand. So this rebrand was more so like a real rebrand. We brought in a new logo, a new concept that really like matched the brand. Cause I had the logo that I was still rocking from 2018 till literally like this year. So it was just meant to be like, I just needed a new face with like the new designs we were bringing, and stuff, just kind of like a new update. So we brought in a new logo. We brought a primary logo, a secondary logo. You can kind of find those on our Instagram. It kind of gives you the description of like behind them, what they mean, kind of what they resemble. And then that was kind of the main thing behind that rebrand, was just a new logo, kind of a new color palette. And then we also brought in just like new Instagram looks, just how we display our Instagram, which if you go to our Instagram, it's kind of like,
how you
thank you.
Yeah.
It's really, really like grid format, which a lot of people say is like so old and stuff, but we really we try and modernize it and really bring it like, to a good aesthetic where people can view it as a whole. And then they can also go into a post and it still resembles like the same thing, still flows. So yeah, if you go check out the Instagram, you can kind of see what I mean by saying that. So just really figuring out how we wanted to push our content and planning out that content was kind of another way behind that rebrand. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the grid? Like when it comes to social media, like,
Yeah.
does that matter to you? Like, I feel like it does, like, as you said.
So yeah, there's pros and cons to it. Obviously, like, and what we tried to leverage is sometimes with grid posting, you'll go to make that post, and if it's on someone's feed, let's say it's like the left of the 3 slots, it's like the left post, and they're just seeing that on their feed. What we try and focus on is you want to make sure that with that one post, they can still understand what's going on from just that one post. But when they go into your page, then it still collides and coheses together, if that makes sense. Because I know like back
Like
in the day,
standalone pieces that
Exactly.
also fit into a bigger puzzle.
exactly,
Yeah.
once you put it all together.
Yeah.
Because I know back then, like people would do grid posts and it would be like 9 whole posts,
Dumb.
and it would create, like a whole picture out of it, right?
But what happens when it gets off? Like, you post
Exactly.
one, and it's,
And then
it's
all
no longer
off.
3 rows.
Exactly. And so that's like what
Not
we
a
really
fan of
looked at and like we really talked about and had to like go into and that's what we do like every photo shoot, every time we do content, we really like me and my graphic designer, we sit down and we look at all these photos and we like plan out like how can this look like from 6 months to now, what's this whole Instagram, page going to look like with all these, so it all lines up like throughout, like while we're posting. So it stays, aligned, stays meshes together.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing with the rebrand too. And the grid layout, back to what you're saying, is just, so that's a con. And like when people were doing that, or like when they see that and they just see like, it's just like a red rectangle and they're like, what even is this? Like they have to go to the page to like understand what's going on.
Right.
So that was something that we had to look at. And I would say if people are doing that grid layout, is you really have to look at that, like make sure that they can still see that one post and understand what's going on, and even bringing them in to then click your post or click your profile. So then they go and see like the whole collection as a whole.
Yeah.
So that's how I would definitely see if you're going to do grid layout, to definitely push it that way. Another, I guess, pros and cons, it just goes to like also with reels. I know you can like hide reels from your main page, so it's just on your reel side. So kind of doing that we've had to do, just because like if we post a reel, it doesn't really match with like maybe our other posts, and we don't want it like between these posts. So sometimes that can be kind of an issue and, cause problems, but sometimes you just got to figure it out and be like, well, we'll just delay it, run, these 3 posts. So it's kind of like a refresh. So it's like a blank slate, and then we'll do like 3 reels. So then it's like all 3 reels right away. So then it kind of a break, and then we'll do our next like grid layout with all of our posts and whatnot. So
are you planning like 6 months in advance?
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah. I would like to even be farther ahead, but it's just with being like so busy and whatnot, it's just hard. But right now, me and my graphic designer, we're working on a collection right now. Well, we have a kind of a mini like accessory collection ready right now, which we're hoping to have coming soon, which is like a beanie, a scarf. I think we're going to do some gloves and some sunglasses. And then we have some crew necks, some hoodie designs ready. I have a collab with a buddy named Siri Casso. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Painter?
Yep.
He's dope. I've heard of him.
He's a cool guy. So we're actually doing a collab that's coming out in October. We're going to do a Halloween event together, kind of like he does like sip and paints, so people can paint, drink, and hang out. So it's going to be like a sip and paint. There'll be like some local artists performing, and we're doing like our collab drop on a design we came together and did. So that'll be October. Then I'm hoping to have another collection out in December by the end of the year is my goal. If not, then it'll be January. But then, as far as like next year, probably next 6 months, probably have some ideas going already like for that. And then as far as like Instagram content, it is a lot.
Is it hard for you to sit on like 6 months worth of content?
Oh, yeah.
Because for me,
It sucks.
I can kind of, I hate it because like I'll have all these posts. I'm like, I got posts for like the next few months. And part of me is like, dang, I want to put like this one and this one and this one out like in the same day. That way I can like get to the, you know what I mean? I feel like that's the struggle.
It is. Yeah. It's a big part of it. And that's like with everything. And it's just like patience is a big thing too. And like, I just kind of look at it like whether it's today or a week, like the same amount of people are probably going to see it. If not, maybe more people are going to see it, because by then, who knows, maybe I'll reach some more audiences. But yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes it can be like, kind of like make me anxious. Like, dang, I got all this good content. Like I'm trying to get it out, get it going. And like, yeah, it's good. Like you want to stay consistent in pushing your content, but at the same time, you don't want to over push your content.
Right. And I got one more like question about the grid kind of specifically. How do you make room for more organic last second content? Cause like, for example, the fashion show that y'all did.
Yeah, that was super dope.
I mean, if you were planning 6 months in advance, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you did know you were going to do the fashion show, but it's like, how did you fit that into your feed?
So we obviously, we're in our current like fall winter collection right now. So we've been just pushing that content. And so we just kind of got to a break. So we do product pictures first. We kind of push some product pictures like pre-release, kind of getting the hype going. Sometimes we'll do a giveaway and whatnot. And then after the drop, we'll do more like model shots, action shots, kind of stuff like that. And we just so I got the opportunity for the fashion show, took it and whatnot. And so once I got the content for the fashion show, then it's kind of just looking at what content I already had out, and then what posts I could kind of put out next. I don't know. I need to look at what I even posted before. So we had the model shots, and then we did a catalog look, which you can see. So we did this like catalog look where we kind of wanted to do like a LOU magazine type kind of theme. So we pushed that all. And then after that, we have more action shots, but we did the fashion show between then. So it kind of worked out. So I had these catalog images and stuff that we were pushing. So we pushed those out, and then we were kind of like, we could take a break right here, a break, and then we pushed the fashion show content. And then after that, we have more like just model action shots, kind of group photos, more action things, whereas like the pictures before were kind of just like standalone or product things. We also had like a gallery, because at Mainframes we did like a big gallery for our 5-year anniversary and had people come through, so I posted some photos from that. So like it's events like those, like the pop-up events and I get content from, because like I really love pushing that out, and I think it's key to push that out to like show like, you know, you're involved in doing these things, and really show like you're a real brand, right? Show that like real brand, because like people from Instagram or like that are across the world, they might see it and like they might be like, oh, you know, I don't know, like it could be kind of sketchy, you know, whatever. But when you show them like this, like these real things you're doing, it kind of just brings that like reality into it. And so I love pushing that content. So when it comes up to it and it's just like pops up, it's just like, how can we just fit it in? Where can we, you know, push out a few more posts to get those 3, you know, good and fluidity, so it flows with like what's below it, and then push whatever that content is, and then kind of resume it and bring it back. So it's almost like a little break point, kind of, is kind of how I see it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tell us about some of your favorite collections that you've released so far.
I would say our last one we probably did was probably my favorite, and I think my graphic designer would probably say the same. And that it was actually our fastest collection to sell out too. I think we sold out in like 3 or 4 weeks, and it was like 200 units or so. Wow. And that was, we did 2 t-shirts and a pair of sweatpants. Maybe a hat? No, I think it was just 2 t-shirts and a pair of sweatpants. It was actually this t-shirt I got on right now, except it's not this color. This is a 101. This is my color.
That's cool.
We did like a brown color. So this one was, as I'm burning my misery to ashes, agony finds its resting place. So back to just getting through like your struggles, and when I was talking about like the sun's always going to come up, so like just getting through that and pushing through it, getting it to the next day was kind of a big thing. The other t-shirt was finding pain between your balance, so back to like the balance thing and the struggling, and like you're gonna, like, everything's gonna be hard, but it's whether you want to pick your hard. Like a scenario I always use, which has nothing to do with clothing, but working out is hard, but, you know, being overweight or obese is also hard, you know? So you just got to pick your hard. And that goes with like anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire. What collection is the hat from?
What do I even have this on? Lose Your Mind. This is probably a year ago, maybe. This was like a summer drop. This was about, so this one was, I think, Lose Your Mind from Time to Time. So this was always about like getting out of your comfort zone, stretching your boundaries, like not always being comfort, like being wild kind of, but in a good way, you know, like being, what's the word that I always used to use, but just like kind of being, almost just out there, like kind of extra, but in a good way, you know, like chasing your dreams. But a big thing that I always kind of look at is if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. So like that was kind of a big thing behind like this design, at least, is like setting the bar high and whatnot, like not getting out of your comfort zone, losing your mind, like doing those crazy ideas, those being radical. That was the word. Kind of being like that radical individual and just going after whatever you want. Was kind of this one. I did a pair of sweatpants with this drop too. That's probably my favorite sweatpants I've dropped. But yeah, that collection was definitely my favorite. I really like the last collection we just did. It's an all black collection. It's called Living Proof. So just about, which was our 5-year collection. So just about looking back at like what we've been through, what we came through, just like giving us that like validation, that proof, like, you know, we're here now, like showing what because the collection before was, can you believe we made it after all this time? So then it's just like, can you believe we made it? And like now we're here, like living the proof. So that's kind of like where we're at kind of right now.
That's fire. Would you ever think about kind of like re-releasing old collections?
Yeah, that's fun.
Because like obviously big brands have the money to be able to afford that, right? Like, and by, you know, I'm talking like Nike and stuff like that. Like you see them re-release the same shoes every few years, right? Because they know what's selling, what's popular, and they're just like, oh yeah, like
they just got so much.
And like whatever, you know, gets put out might come back into style too. So like, have you ever thought about that before?
Yeah, I want to do something where I kind of just like put up a voting system or something where I can have like all my pieces from previous years or whatever, and people can vote, and then like the top 2 or 3 votes or whatever I decide, like I'll bring back and do like a limited re-release. That has been a thought that I've been wanting to do. But yeah, that as far as like that is, that's definitely a thought I've had. Obviously I like doing the limited aspect and keeping it limited and keeping that value there, and also being able to like move on. Cause like, I don't like, obviously I love all my work. I love all my old clothes, and it shows, you know, like the evolution and where I've came from and how we've evolved. But at the same time, it's like I get done with the collection and it's like I don't like it anymore. Like I want to do better. I want to do something better, like something greater. So it's always like I don't want to recreate that. You know, I want to make something better than that. So that's kind of like a big thing for me. But no, I definitely do want to, because I always have people asking me like, are you ever going to bring this back? Are you ever going to have that one? Or even like a different color, or people like, are you ever going to do that in a hoodie or something like that? So maybe doing something like picking a design and picking if they want it on a hoodie or a crew neck or something like that would be super cool.
Tell us about like the upcoming stuff you got coming.
So currently, I mean, I talked about my collab drop with the one artist. So me and Siri, we got a collab coming. We'll have a event. It'll be a sip and paint event, a Halloween kind of like costume event. It's on October 29th, so you can stay tuned for the flyers and info on that. Other than that, we also have this month open mic. Every month I host open mic with Good Vibes Movement, Ben Spellman. He's the GOAT. So we do open mic there every month. That's this month, September 29th. So if you're free, I don't know if this will be up even by then.
September 29th.
I think it will release the Friday before.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if it does, then make it out if you're free. September 29th, Good Vibes Movement. It's a great space. If you're trying to get your voice out there, it's a great space to do that. Or if you're trying to be a vendor and get your brand out there, we do vendor spots. That's another event that's on the list. Otherwise, just getting ready for my next like mini accessory collection. Obviously, designs are kind of finalized, but really just getting like the samples going, production and stuff like that. Outside of that, I'm also working with Good Vibes Movement to get my own production spot going. We have screen printer we're working on getting going, digital printer we're working on getting going, and just like embroidery, so I don't have to hopefully get out of that 9 to 5 here soon, because I'm still doing that. So that's definitely a big goal of mine right now, is kind of just really push it on my own, get out of that full-time job and just really kick it into full gear. And then give back to the family, people around us. But just keep growing the brand, keep dropping designs. I would love to do more fashion shows. That was a lot of fun. Outside of that, that's kind of on my plate, like recently, right now.
Yeah.
So with the fashion show at Mainframe, open mic night, a good vibe. How do you get your name out there to get in these doors? And talk about how you network.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said before, like nowadays it's more who you know than what you know. And so Mainframes, like for Mainframe specifically, my photographer, his name's Richard. He has a studio there. So that's kind of how I got connected with Mainframes. I just had my 5-year anniversary and I said this. So we did like a gallery event in his studio and had like, because I've been working with Richard for years now, so he's done all my photography work. So we just did a collab event and kind of showcased like all our all the fashion photography we've done, all the drops we've kind of done, passed over. Kind of just had like a mini like museum for the brand over the past 2 years. So that was a big thing. But just like connecting and getting to it, I would say just being in all the events. So I attend like as many events as I can, whether it's flea markets, fairs, like sneaker events, resale, like those kind of events, just any sort of like local like events that you can get involved with. Just try and get involved with it, because the more people you'll be there, the more people you'll meet. And that's kind of how I got started. Is I just kind of started attending all these events, taking all these people's numbers, meeting all these people, finding all these other entrepreneurs that were trying to do the same thing, and then brought it to Good Vibes, started connecting with them, bringing them to that event. But yeah, I would say just attend as many events as you can. Another big thing is just like, you just got to do it. A lot of people talk about it for so long. And that's another people's like struggle, is they always like sit on it, or they sit on their idea for so long. And like, you just got to put it out there. Like if it's bad, it's bad. Like then you move on from that and you get better from that. But like, if you never put something out there, then it's never gonna, become something. So
yeah. So with networking and putting yourself out there, have you done most of that through social media? Or
yeah, I would say a lot is social media, a lot is local, like just attending, the Good Vibes events, attending like just any sneaker events, whether it's in Iowa or Minnesota or kind of like locally that I can drive to. Obviously, social media is huge, and working with, bigger like influencers, for instance. So like Strick is an influencer I've been working with a lot recently. He's friends with like the whole YSL, like Young Thug, Gunna, and all them. So I just sent all them out some clothes. I've also been working with Chris King, his name is. So he's part of the 1400, so Trippy Red and all them. And then I just sent some stuff out to DJ Victorious, who is a DJ for G Herbo and a few other people. And then who was the other guy? There's a guy named Young Moody. So like another thing is like when these events come to Des Moines, so this Young Moody guy, he's like a celebrity host, event host. So he hosted a G Herbo concert here. And so just getting involved with like those events. And a big thing is like connecting with, back to just more who connecting with not the main guy, but the main guy's friend of a friend, or the main guy's friend of a friend of a friend. Yeah. And then you'll meet his friend, and then it's just a grapevine. And so that's a big thing and getting connected with like those social media influencers or those bigger names that you're trying to get involved with, is getting around the people that they're around. And then eventually, you'll get around them. So that's kind of how I got connected in with like those kind of bigger rappers that I was talking about. There's another one that I'm not remembering, but
your social media following has probably gained you some influence.
Yeah. It's definitely.
How much do you value that? And also like with how much work you've put into gaining a following over the years, like what does that look like with how you market your business and brand?
Yeah. And yeah, obviously it's definitely like jumped up like probably this past year. It's really like started going. I've been working with like some agencies and stuff, and different people that can kind of give me, figuring out the algorithms and stuff like that. Obviously, like I know Eli said this too, and like I don't want to base like anything off a follower account. Like at the end of the day, I don't even care like if people know it's my name behind the brand. Like it's more so the art that I'm pushing out and like the effect it has on people. Like, yeah, obviously I'm going to love if I can, affect 100,000 people, but like if it's, a solid 10,000 every month that, I'm satisfying, like that's something. So I try not to look at it or like stress too much, like, oh, my follower count's going down, oh, it's going up, like that. Because like a big thing is just like staying true to yourself and being genuine, like not doing what everyone else is doing, like finding your own thing that works for you. And so, yeah, I would say definitely like don't try and, cause like, bro, Instagram is so bad nowadays, like just with like engagement and reach and like true interaction and just like, it's just so saturated now. And like, it's really like, it's just hard. So like, I just truly wouldn't get like too on yourself about that.
Is there any other apps you're using for your brand?
We use Facebook here and there a little bit. I had a TikTok, I deleted it, and then I actually just made it another one to try and start pushing content on it again. But honestly, no, yeah, Instagram's kind of the main one only.
Got you.
I was gonna make a Twitter actually. My graphic designer told me to make a Twitter because you can post 4K photos. So yeah, that's pretty dope. But no, mainly, honestly, yeah, just Instagram and the website is kind of just what we push heavily.
Got you. Yeah. So are you just online right now?
Yeah, pretty much just actually, well, Culture Kings 515.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So that's my buddy Brad Thompson. If you need some shoes or anything, go get locked in with Culture Kings. They're the spot. But yeah, so I have all my stuff in there as well. Other than that, though, yeah, it's just all online, or then any like pop-up events that I'll do, stuff like that.
Dope.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to put your product in more stores or have your own storefront one day?
Yeah, I would love to have my own storefront. As far as putting my stuff in stores, I don't like fast fashion at all, so I would never put my stuff in a mall or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just not what I support, not what I go for. So as far as that's why I'm in Culture Kings, those, you know, the local owned or like the true, like, you know, fashion brands. So it would either be my own storefront or just local stores like Culture Kings or whatnot. And obviously, like, since he's my homie, like, I also hate going like to other brands and, you know, like trying to put my stuff in their store and stuff. But he obviously understands it. It's all a hustle and stuff. So as far as like mall, department stores, Zoomies, hell no. But,
what are some goals you have besides like maybe having a storefront one day? What are some goals that you have for the brand?
I would love to have a storefront where I can like have production underneath and have a, you know, stuff going on up top. Like that would definitely be the for sure goal at the end of the day. Everything being made at the same spot. I would love to have all my pattern works going at the same spot. I mean, that's definitely the end goal mission. As far as where it's at, no clue. If that's maybe still here, I'm fine with. Like if I, you know, maybe get the opportunity to really bring that into Des Moines area, that'd be cool. But I would definitely like to adventure out. I'm a big traveling guy and I like traveling, and I feel like there's so much out there in this world. So like that's definitely a big thing I still want to experience. But
what are some of your personal goals outside of the brand for the next few years?
Personal, I would love to retire my mom. That would be dope. I got some family stuff, so just like for her to be at home and just be with my dad and stuff 24/7, spend that time. But other than that, as I said, traveling is a big thing for me. Just not having to worry about bills and stuff, taking care, giving back to the community and people around me is another big thing for me. I got a dog, so I love my dog, just spending time with that. I'm a soccer player, so I mean I like doing sports. I like, you know, just playing with homies or whatever.
That's sick. Do you have any goals to expand the team over the next few years?
Yeah, for sure. Right now I just have the graphic designer like I talked about. He's on contract. Otherwise, I would love to get in. I mean, obviously I got friends that, you know, help me if I need someone to like run my booth or if I need an extra hand doing this or that, but I would love to get into someone, you know, doing all my emails, doing all the customer service stuff. That would be nice. Really, like, obviously, like bringing stylists in and like having them fully take over photo shoots, just kind of giving them like a direction to take. Obviously is another goal. Just little things like that. Just kind of get the little things off my shoulders, because, you know, at the end of the day, the goal is to kind of have a self-sufficient brand, something that I can leave behind and go do whatever I want to do, and it can still work on its own, you know? So that's kind of also a thing why I turned away from like modeling and acting, because like I have to be there to make money to do that, right? Whereas this, I can leave it behind, and I also don't have to be there if I, you know, build it right and whatnot. So that's definitely another goal of mine. But
If you could give advice, you already said you
I
knew
did.
this question was coming.
Yeah.
If you could give advice to yourself or someone, looking to get into this industry, like what would you say and what are you looking for, like practically? Like,
just, you got to put it out there. And I struggled with it too. I probably talked about doing my brand for 6-8 months with just friends of mine and stuff, and figuring out the name and all this stuff. And it takes time, and you don't want to rush that stuff, but at the same time, like, you just got to put it out at some point, and everything can always be fixed. Everything can be adjusted. Everything can be changed. So the big thing is just putting it out there, and just seeing how it reacts, what happens with it, and then adjusting and becoming better from that. So, and I'll say it myself, like my first collection, it was horrible. It was bad, and people just bought it because they wanted to support me, and they were my friends. And that's how you got to start sometimes, and that's okay. And so it just really the evolution came, and I would just say, just really, you can't just sit on it. You got to put it out there, and you got to go full force. That's a big thing that I struggled with, and I think a lot of people struggle with. And just not being afraid to connect, not being afraid to pick people's brain. Find someone that, and I know Eli said this too, he's going to be like, you stole my line. Find someone that's like 10 years ahead of you and get around them. And like, I know all the mentors I've worked with and everyone I've talked to, they always say, you're going to be like, show me the 5 people you hang around with, and I'll show you what your future is going to be. And it's just really like, who you put yourself around is what you're going to be like. So you really want to, focus on who you're putting yourself around with, and what they're doing, and if like they're really, pushing you to be a better person, and stuff like that. And so that's something I had to look at too, like just focusing on, who am I giving my time to that's like would really like give their time back for me and whatnot. Stuff like that is another big thing for just like entrepreneurs and brands, I think, starting up.
Is there anyone that you know personally that you see a lot of potential in and you're trying to help build them up?
Yeah. So I've worked with a lot of my friends that have wanted to start a clothing brand. None of them are really still going. I got a buddy that I'm working with right now. His name's Glenn. He's starting to kind of get a clothing brand going. He's also working with me on kind of the whole good vibes movement with getting production going there. And we're trying to push a whole retail spot there, actually, and get like where we can have, I should have mentioned this when I was talking about things coming up, where we can have like other local brands come in, and whether it's have a little section where they can put their stuff, and then we can also, show them or bring them through the whole process of making it, and then giving them, that little area to put their stuff and sell it. Yeah. So that's kind of something in the works with me and him, and Ben, the owner of Good Vibes, that we've been kind of working on. But yeah, other than that, I've had probably 3. I have another buddy, Brees Proctor. He's trying to get a brand going, so I've been kind of helping him out here and there. But yeah, it's hard. It's like, it's not as easy as it sounds, for sure. Like, like anything though, like I said, you got to pick your hard. Like, doing whatever 9 to 5 at whatever it may be is hard, but building a business is hard too. So you got to pick your hard, for sure.
Yeah, that's cool how like you're helping the homies out and you're helping other people out, because I feel like some people are just kind of like gatekeepers of information, and I don't personally vibe with that, because it's like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Just live with your knowledge until you die?
Take it to the grave, bro.
I know.
And that's what, like, that's just a big thing.
People think that's the way to get ahead. When like transparency and collaboration, it'll take you way further.
Exactly. And you could, I agree 100%. And that's just a big thing with corporate worlds too, is like your bosses or whatever, they're only going to tell you so much. They're only going to tell you so much so that you can get the job done, but that you can't take their job from them. And like, it's just, it's with everything, bro. There's a lot of gatekeeping, but no, I'm definitely an open book. Obviously for everything, there's some things you can't just, go ahead and tell people right off the bat. Like some people, and I learned that too, like some people you got to make them earn that knowledge. Like you don't want to give them everything right off the book. Like, I'll give you whatever you want to hear, but I'm not going to just flood you with it right off the bat. Like, because that's not going to do you any good either. Like, you got to take it a step at a time. And so,
and you got to put in some work too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing. I feel like nowadays is a lot of people, they like so much is just these like celebrities and people that are blowing up, and it's just like, bro, they're like, they just rolled into fame. Like, how did they even get this? Like,
right. And it's like the networking thing, which is crucial and like very important. while it is important, it's like, don't abuse that at the same time. Like, just because I know, like, Demetrio is, like, crushing it. He's got, like, rappers wearing his stuff. That doesn't mean that I'm going to hit up Demetrio and be like, hey, bro, can you please give me so-and-so's number?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
No, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's lines. Yeah, there's lines to everything. It's just professionalism. There's like, there's etiquettes for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on. Seriously.
We end every episode the same. We talk about one thing that's been inspiring to us recently. Okay. You want to go first?
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
So recently I took a trip to Nashville.
Your first time, right?
Yeah, that's first crazy. Time. I'm not a country guy.
Nashville, I heard, is fun.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Like, I'm not a country guy, and I enjoyed it. Like, I feel like, I mean, we're from Iowa. You're from Illinois, but like kind of the Midwest, like country is a thing. And like some of my family are like, I guess, into that. So I don't know. I have an appreciation for it now. Yeah. Like, I used to just hate on it because like I'm from the city, grew up listening to just straight up like hip hop, R&B. Like, that was my vibe, and like I had no respect for that. But I kind of appreciate a little bit of everything now, and I'm like, okay, like I can get down with it in that setting. Yeah. But that's not like really what inspired me. It was actually like just kind of how crazy technology is and like what humans can do. Like the fact, so just being on a plane, I think is just a crazy feeling because it took us, so we flew out of Cedar Rapids. It took us an hour to fly from Cedar Rapids to Nashville, where it takes me 2 hours to drive from Des Moines to Cedar Rapids. You could literally fly from Cedar Rapids to Nashville and back at the same time it would take me to drive from my house to Cedar Rapids. Like what? Like, that just kind of blew my mind. And it's crazy how like humans did that. Or like, you know, like people created that means of transportation. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just like, it's just kind of mind-blowing stuff. So yeah, it's kind of inspiring to see like what humans can do, I guess. Oh yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or where we're going to be at like for 20 real. Years from now.
For real. It's kind of scary, but like crazy at the same time.
Yeah. Did you see like the IA robots they had at like the football game? Yeah. Bro, like what? Yeah. What is that?
Was that for the movie though?
Yeah, the creator movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So that wasn't actual AI. That was just like people dressed up.
Yeah, right? I think it was real AI robots, wasn't it?
I haven't done enough digging, but I saw a post about it.
They looked pretty, bro. It didn't look like a costume to me. I don't think. Yeah. But
damn. I mean, who knows? I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. What about you, bro?
I'll go with something that happened today, I guess. So Good Vibes, they host a meal handout every Sunday. So they just make a bunch of food and we hand it out. I was down there today because we had to talk about just some stuff going on there, but they were doing that. So it's just always a good thing, and they do it every Sunday and like probably hand out 100 meals or so just to whoever's passing by in their car or walking by. So yeah, that was just something that hit me today. Just really inspiring to see that going down in the community.
Yeah, I love that. Our other co-host Marquis, who couldn't be here, like he used to do a lot of stuff at Good Vibes. Like I remember.
Wait, I think.
Do you know Marquis?
Or he might have been there today, actually.
Maybe. I don't know.
No, probably not. No, because he had his thing going on. Yeah, I might be thinking of a different person then.
Yeah, but Marquis, like he's done a lot of stuff at Good Vibes. I know, like at least kind of when they were starting out, because I don't know how long they've been going, but like I know back in like 2020 and 2021, I was working for Marquis and we were shooting the Minds podcast with Juwan.
Yeah, I know Juwan.
And so like Juwan was doing some of his episodes at Good Vibes, and then I don't know if you know John Luke, who does Just Work Training, but like they're also homies with like the whole Good Vibes people, and like Ben. Yeah, Ben's a great guy. Yeah, he's sick. Yeah, good people, man.
Mm-hmm. That's dope. That's dope.
Cool.
Mine. Yesterday, I went to Envy and bumped into the homie Jaden Swaim. He's a good dude, and he's like starting to expand his creative mind, I would say would be a good term for it. Cause like the dude, like if you saw him, you'd be like, yeah, that dude's creative. Like he's just like, he's outside the box.
He's got
he's got a cool style. He's got different, like, just an interesting perspective on things. And he was working on a project that he's working on. Did he show you? Mm-hmm. I don't want to drop the name just cause I think that's probably like something that he's going to like release soon.
It's in progress,
but it's dope. Yeah, like I was looking at the work he was working on and I was like, dude, this is good stuff. So that was just inspiring because he and I have talked and like I think he just works as a social media manager for Chick-fil-A or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like he wants to expand what he does and like do it well. And I'm like, dude, like go after it, man. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah.
So to see him like put his foot forward, I think that was really dope.
It's
really
actually
cool
sick that you bring up Jaden Swain because like I remember, so I work at this coffee shop, Northern Vessel, and just on like Fridays and Saturdays, but like Jaden like walked in and he was wearing like a Drew House like crew neck or something. Yeah. And like, you know, if you're into streetwear fashion and, you know, you'll know what Drew House is, obviously. And so like, and he had like some Sambas on and stuff, which are coming back or, I mean, I feel like they've never gone out of style, but you know, like Sambas are dope. And so I was like, and he had like the baggy, like 90s jeans on.
Yeah, he was rocking it.
Yeah. And so I was like, bro, I dig the fit. And he was like sitting next to me too. And I was just kind of working on some stuff. And, so then we just started talking and we literally were talking about clothes and shoes and like all this stuff. And then, you want to start a brand? And like, you go to school or does he go to Iowa State? Right?
He used to. I don't think he's enrolled anymore.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I couldn't remember, but yeah, it's just like a dope conversation that just started literally based off of, I like your outfit.
Yeah. So, and that's a big thing for like my brand, exactly how that fits into it. It's like seeing that outfit and that whole conversation or like relationship starting from that between the two people. So that's super cool you said that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hopefully one day he'll be.
Yeah, we'll have to get him
another
on sometime.
Jaden.
Yeah. It's a good name. That's a good name.
Yeah. Dope.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for being on. We had you on, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Well, this has been another episode of the Creative POV podcast. We'll see you in the next one.